Just a numerical change. Senator may explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the sponsor of the prior amendment. We had a chance to get together this morning and share with me one of the concerns from one of his amendments, and we worked on this together. The original bill in its form had an insurance tail like obstetrics, OBGYNs would have for 21 years. Wanted to see if we could work something out together, and I thank the gentleman from Western Maryland. So worked on having an insurance tail of 6 years instead, which is what a number of other states, as he pointed out, have, or at least one that he showed me. If we need to address this at another time, we can always come back, and I think it's a reasonable request from the senator from Western Maryland. So I would move adoption of the amendment.
Mr. President, I want to thank the chairman. We did. I got a list of every place they grow in the country, and this still makes us the highest, with New Mexico going to 6 years. So I appreciate the cooperation from the chairman of the committee.
Questions on the adoption of the senator's amendment? Any objection? All in favor, aye. Opposed, none. The senator's amendment adopted. Are there further amendments to the bill to the title?
One more, Mr. President.
Chairman has further amendments. Pages collected.
Just a quick one also.
Chair may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, question from the Senate President and some others about how this might affect, and from the gentleman from Western Maryland about transport and Cove Point. And I just wanted to just make it abundantly clear. We had an Attorney General's opinion that made it clear that it was just for the permittee, but put this in the body of the statute also, just to make it abundantly clear that this is for the permittees and the permittees only of fracking. It just clarifies what is already in the bill. So I would move the adoption of move adoption of the amendment.
Mr. President.
Senator.
I rise in support of the amendment. I appreciate, again, the chairman's. I did bring this up in the discussion on the other amendments, and there was some question there. I had an amendment drafted to do some other language, but I think this language does the same thing, so this one goes in that file.
Okay. Anyone object to this amendment? All in favor, aye. Opposed, no. The three purported amendments hereby adopted. Further amendments to the bill to a title?
Mr. President.
Yes.
I did have another amendment, but I'm not offering it. I think in working with the chairman, the wording, I still have a little, I took a dictionary definition, which I think says the same thing. It was a little more clear, but he's okay with the way it's in the bill. So this one goes there also, and I won't offer any other amendments. Thank you.
Okay. Any further amendments to the bill or to the title? Hearing none, Senate Bill 458 is ordered printed for third reading.
Guts of the bill remains intact. The two most important provisions of the bill are the fact that we would have strict liability, meaning that the industry could not avoid responsibility for damages that they cause, be it to life or limb, or the environment. And the second part of the bill, which nobody really talked about on the floor, is maybe the most important thing, is it says that the chemicals that are utilized in fracking would be discoverable and admissible in evidence, and they could not, and it's declared not to be a trade secret, which is, I mean, the industry has spent, millions to try to keep these things secret because, quite frankly, in addition to it hurting them in courtrooms, they want to make sure that I mean, it's kind of ridiculous arguments, but it's certainly the availability of that information would make it significantly easier for victims to recover in tort. The fact that they were called trade secrets at all, I think, is ludicrous. But the industry certainly has spent a fortune to try to make it so. I mean, in North Carolina and other states, they've actually been successful in making it a felony to reveal the chemicals, like they're some kind of like state secret or something. So those are the two most important parts of the bill. The insurance tail was, I think, is a good idea. On the chance that some kid ends up with a birth defect, you want to make sure that there's insurance that remains. But I mean, at the end of the day, there are no permittees at this point in time. We can always come back and readdress that issue. And should this thing move forward, we will.
On the chemicals, the disclosure, there was, I know other states have looked at sort of a compromise of saying, like, we'll give you the ingredients but not the recipe, that kind of thing. I mean, this is the full,
This is the full amount. You get into you injure somebody, they sue, and you have the ability to do discovery like in any other scenario. There is no logical reason that these things are somehow, secrets of the United States. You know what I mean? It's beyond ridiculous. The only reason that they've been able to do this is because of lobbying muscle. That's it. Because there's no actual legal reason for them to be kept secret in discovery. So, but the reality is that plaintiffs, victims, have lost cases because they were unable to tie the chemicals into the injury, and so this obliterates that defense, and should. And quite frankly, should we see other clever legal defenses of this industry, we'll get rid of those too.
When this comes up next, Monday?
Monday.
Do you expect a similar vote count, or do you think that this change sort of ameliorated some of the concerns?
I don't know
that
the
others
answer to
had?
that question. I hope that when people take a look at it, I mean, there's some additional evidence they've been able to get in the meantime. For example, we have this law that's on the books, as you heard from yesterday's debate, that there's strict liability, or forget the word strict liability because that sounds very legalese. It's just responsibility, accountability. I mean, that's all that means, is that you literally have a choice between the hypothetical is, and it's not a hypothetical because it's happened all over the place, is there are damages caused by the industry. That meaning there are huge environmental spills. I mean, we are plowing, the industry itself, just so we know what we're talking about, is a mixture of enormously toxic chemicals being plowed into our ground, into and near our water systems. I mean, you're going to have some damage there, which is why I don't think we should do it. But if they do it, the question, and if there's environmental cleanup that needs to happen, there are literally two choices as to who pays for it. One, the industry that caused it, or two, taxpayers. So all strict liability means is that we are going to hold the industry responsible and not put the taxpayers of Maryland on the hook for what the industry has caused. It's the same thing you would have. It would be like saying that Exxon spills oil all over Alaska and somehow the Alaskans would be responsible for that, which they're not, and nor should they be. That's what we're debating here. That's what we were debating yesterday, which to me is kind of an odd thing to say. I can't imagine going home and telling the citizens of my district that they should be on the hook for environmental contamination caused by the industry of fracking. So that's what we're talking about. But somehow, with good lobbying muscle, the industry has managed to avoid that, and they fight it everywhere. There's a court case in Pennsylvania right now fighting the issue of strict liability. So they fight it all over the country. Maryland has just declared that, or at least the state Senate has just declared, that fight is over. You are going to be strictly liable whether it's on state land, county land, municipal land, federal land, or private land. There is no such thing as a free ride for the industry if they damage people or the environment in this state. So, those are the two big issues of this bill: strict liability to make sure they're held responsible, and chemical disclosure. And both of those things have been left intact.
Was that that was the second read vote that was done today, or that was the?
That was the second reader vote.
Okay,
we're done. We're on the third reader on Monday. We're going to have a final vote on that. I believe that we'll pick up some more votes, and I hope we will, because I think when you think about what this thing means, what this bill means, it's important for the citizens of the state of Maryland. I've been very clear. I don't think anybody is unclear about my position on fracking. I don't believe it's safe, and I don't believe we should do it. I believe that when you allow an industry in, you better make sure that it's safe for the citizens, and right now, it is not. Anybody that tells you that it is selling you something, because, there's earthquakes in Oklahoma, that they're fighting liability on that, there's contamination, there are people who have died. You have a myriad of problems that have been caused by this. That's why I'm against it. But should that opinion not prevail, then we need to take every precaution we possibly can. And this bill doesn't do everything, believe me. All this bill does is, on the back end of it, protect people in their lawsuits, right? That's all that this bill does. What needs to be done is what Governor O'Malley started, but quite frankly didn't go far enough, which is to have safety regulations in place. So if these folks come, you need to make sure the wells are safe. You need to make sure that the regulations are tough enough that these things that this bill addresses never happen. And if you can't do it, well, then they're going to pay for it in the back end.
What's the status of
Thank
that
you.
moratorium bill? Is that still in committee, or?
It's in the committee. It's out of the House. The House passed the moratorium.
Oh, they did. The 8-year
They passed
moratorium?
I think my understanding is the committee passed a 3-year moratorium. Is my understanding.
Okay.
So you can check with Delegate Stein or Delegate Barbe.
Got it.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care, guys.
Senator, how are you feeling today, man?
I'm feeling better today. This is a 12-round fight, and we just passed round 6. So we have a long way to go to make this thing a law and to make sure that the guts of this bill remain intact. So I'm feeling, good about where we are in the process right now. Like to have seen more in the bill, and quite frankly, I'd like to see a moratorium pass as well. But as far as this bill, we're feeling good about where it is right now.